Okay, so I want to guide you through how to create this thumbtack. And here's a rendering of the thumbtack here that I've created. You can see it in that image there or right here. I can save this as and download it as a JPEG if I wanted to. But that's what my 3D model ended up looking like of this tack. So let me go into the design part of Fusion, and here's my design here. If I look at my timeline, you can see that I've actually only done 3 operations to get to this point. I press play, start with a sketch, creates a body, and then I actually just separate the 2 bodies and add an appearance to each of them. The sharp steel part as well as the plastic top. Alright, so let me show you how you can do that. So I'm going to start a new design, and I'm going to start by saving it, and I'll save it as thumbtack, save, and then I'm going to start a new component. I'll call that thumbtack as well. Even though this is just going to be one component, it's a good habit to get into. You can see it shows up in our browser there. Okay, just like always, we always start a model with the sketch, or typically we do. I'm going to start in the Z X plane here, so I can either click at that point there, or I can go under origin and go to XZ there. Alright, so now I'm in my sketch mode here. My sketch toolbar has showed up, and I'll show you what we're going to be sketching. So here are my dimensions here, and we'll start with the bottom part of it, and yeah, so this is a little hard to read, but that's the steel part where before it tapers in is gonna be 9 up to the plastic bit. So I'm gonna start with that. I'll use a rectangle for this. I'll go 9 up, and then the outside, press tab, is going to be 0.6. So it's 1.2 in diameter. So I got to divide that by 2 because I'm only actually drawing half of the sketch. And let's go back to that for a second. So I'll pull up the sketch here. This is going to be completely symmetrical and round as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually, and you can see it, they've created a center line going through the tack here, indicating that it's the same on one side as the other. So all I got to do is create the one side of this particular object. This will make a little more sense in a moment. Alright, now you'll notice that the diameter was 1.2, but we split that in half because we're only drawing to the center line, so it's going to be 0.6. That's where I got that 0.6 from. Now you'll see that the tip has an angle of 36 degrees. And we don't know exactly how long it is. Well, we can use our angle of 36. Now half that angle is going to be 18. So I want to keep that in mind. So I'm going to go to my line command, and I'm going to go down. I'm not too worried about the length. I don't know what it is, but I do know what the angle is. It's going to be 18. Now from this point to this point here is 90. So I actually just want to subtract 18 from 90, which is going to be 72. So I'll type that in there. And that, you can see it's locked in. And I'm going to take it to that mid line there, right there. And I'm going to draw a line up as well. Now I'm going to make sure I got a vertical constraint on there so that it's locked in vertically, this line to that line. And you'll see that it turned black now. And I got that vertical constraint glyph there as well. Okay. So I'm done with the steel part of it. So now let's just go back to my image here. And you'll see that this rounded over portion, it goes up 3 millimeters. And that the total diameter, if I look at the extension lines, is 9. So I know that this line here is going to be 4.5, half of 9, and it's going to go up 3. So I'm going to start with that. So from this point here, it's going to go over 4.5, half of my diameter of 9. And I'm going to go up another 3. Okay. And now I'm going to turn off my dimensions just so I can't see them because they're kind of getting in the way. And if I take a look at my PDF, I know that from this point here to up to there is a radius of 3.2. All right, so I know that if I draw a line, a temporary line from this corner here, 3.2 back, that's also going to be my radius. And that's going to mark the center point of a circle or an arc. Okay, so let me show you that. I'm going to draw a construction line. So I've clicked on my construction. And I'm going to go over 3.2. Okay, so that gives me a mark right there. And now I'm going to draw an arc, or I can draw a circle with a radius of 3.2, which would be a diameter of 6.4. All right, so I'm going to use my center point here. Draw a circle. Now I'm going to get out of the construction line because I want to actually keep this. And draw a circle in there. Okay. So I'm going to end up trimming quite a few of these lines here. And I can start with this one down here, just so it's not so cluttered, and that there. And now I know that this diameter here well, actually, we don't necessarily know the diameter of this line here, but we know where this line here going 3 up intersects with that circle is going to mark this point here. So this is a bit of a puzzle to be solved. It's not super straightforward. So let me just show you. So we know that the top of that line was this point here. If we drew it straight across, where this line intersects with that arc is going to represent that point there. So let me trim away some of the clutter again. Line, and that line. Oops. This one here. And that's what I end up with. Okay, so let's just compare it. Now I know that I have an angled line going 7.8 millimeters up, so I'm going to mark that line there, 7.8 millimeters up. 7.8. And I know that my diameter at this point here is 3.3. So again, to get the line from that point to that point is going to be half of 3.3, which is going to be 1.65. So we don't know what the angle is, but we're just going to connect those lines. 1.65. And now connect that endpoint with that endpoint right there. Okay, it's taking shape. Now I just got to finish it up with this part here. Okay, so now I know that the top of the tack goes up another 2.3, and that line has a diameter of 7.3. 2.3, 7.3, 2.3, 7.3. I'm gonna go 2.3 up. And then 7.3, half of that is gonna be 3.65. 3.65. Okay, and now we just gotta connect that with the appropriate arc. Oops. Let's go to that one. Okay, so this arc has a radius of 2.4. So again, I'm gonna do that same sort of thing. I know that the radius from this point here, which marks the center of the arc, to that point there is 2.4. So I'm gonna mark that temporarily with a construction line. So back from that endpoint 2.4. And then draw a circle with a radius of 2.4, which is gonna be a diameter of 4.8. All right, and you'll see that those lines actually touch, which makes sense. Okay, so now again, I'm gonna trim a bunch of my lines here. I'm gonna trim away that and just connect it with the horizontal line. Okay. So now you see that a lot of my lines are blue, which means there is no, that they're not fully constrained. So the way that you overcome that, make them black, is if we move any of these lines here, so let me just go back there, you can see that that is able to get shorter. So if we put a dimension on there, that should not happen anymore. So let's do that. Okay, and you'll notice that it turned black. And let's put a horizontal constraint here, and that turned everything black. So that's preventing this line from being able to be angled in any which direction. Okay, so now our thumbtack, half of our thumbtack is fully constrained, and we can finish our sketch. Okay, so we're gonna move past extrude, and we're gonna use the second most common way to create a solid body, which is revolve. So if I hover over there, I'll revolve a sketch profile or planar face around a selected axis. So we're going to select this profile that we've created, all of them, enclosures, and then we got to select an axis for which we want that profile to be wrapped around. So my axis is going to be this line here, or a segment of that line. And you can see that I got an angle. So if let's say I want it not to wrap around 360 degrees, let's say 270. Now I'm getting a portion of a tack right there, part of the pie. So I'm obviously going to change that back to 360, so it wraps all the way around. I want it to be a new body, yes, so I'm going to press OK to all that. And there I have my tack. So a lot of it was happening, most of the legwork for this particular model happened with the sketching, trying to figure out the geometry of that sketch. And then it was a simple revolve to try to get this. So we use revolve for things like making a glass, a mug, trophies, chess pieces, stuff like that. Anywhere where it's going to be symmetrical and round. So there's my tack. Now I want to add a bit of an appearance to it, so I'm going to go under modify, and I want to give the thumb portion of the thumbtack some paint, and I'm going to make it blue, enamel, and glossy. So if I bring it over to this particular tack here, well, it's going to turn everything blue. Now I could toggle over and apply it to a face, so let's back up for a second. Go back to appearance, and I'm going to click face instead. And I can paint each individual face blue if I wanted to, which could be a little tedious. The other option I have is to actually split the thumbtack into two different bodies. So that's relatively easy to do. If I go under modify, I'm gonna go split body. I'm gonna select the body I want to split, which is this one here. I'm gonna select the splitting tool. Now I want to split it at this plane right here where the metal would meet the plastic. And there, it brings it in for me. I'm going to press OK to that. And now you can see that under my thumbtack here, under bodies, I got two bodies instead of one. If I click on that one, if I turn off the visibility, I no longer have the top part. If I turn off that visibility, body 2, I've turned off the second part. So that's handy when it comes to creating appearance and giving it different material. So I'm going to press A. Got bodies or components. So the top I'm going to make blue, and the other bit I'm going to make it out of stainless steel. Which one? Let's go with satin. So again, it doesn't look like much when you see it in the design space, but if you click on render, that's where again we can create like a photo quality type image. So once I got it in here, we can change different aspects. I can bring in a decal or some sort of image to add to it. We're going to just keep this simple and simply render it immediately, and that's going to create a photo of the particular tack. Now, if you saw there, it can take up to 20 minutes to actually render. So it's currently, in my case, it's going to take less than 10 minutes. It depends on the quality that you're looking for, etc. But it does take time. And once it does finally happen, you can download it and save it onto your computer. But it should look, again, something like this here. Okay, so that's a thumbtack. That's how to do it.